All right, Dovydas, welcome to the show.
Thanks for inviting me, mate.
Yeah, most welcome, buddy. As always, I think a good place to start so the audience are aware of who you are is, who are you and what's brought you up to this point in time today?
All right, so I'm Dovydas. I'm 30 years old, I think now. I'm Lithuanian. I lived my whole life as a immigrant in different countries. So we left Lithuania when I was 14, 15, in that direction. Lived in Germany for around 13 years. Then Holland, the Netherlands. Um, then I traveled a lot. Asia first, then I went to live in Latin America for a bit. At one point, I started to sail, so I crossed the Atlantic Ocean with a sailing boat. I've been working different areas in my life and different professions. Got a lot of degrees and etc. Mostly people ask like, how old am I and how do I have so much stuff already done in my life? I don't know. Maybe it's like the ADHD or something, like when you lose like attention of things, so you want to like experience new stuff all the time. So on my end, it's mostly like I want to change my profession or like at least some kind of my part of my field into a different one, so I can learn more and evolve myself. You know, like people that are working like 40 years in one company, like especially in Germany, it's like very common. You go to work. First time you go to Ausbildung, it's called. It's like an internship. You do the internship for like 3.5 years, and then you stay at the company. You go like a bit the ladder up. Maybe you're like Abteilungsleiter, like the responsible for the whole like an area of field or something. Yeah. But the idea in Germany and work is like you start working somewhere and then you die at the table, literally. So it's like when I tell about my experience in Germany, they're like, oh, but you don't have a career, yes? How do you do this and etc. No? So it's pretty different. That's why I came here. Well, like that's what I understood here. That kind of things are accepted. Like let's say in Bali, yeah. The whole trip to Bali was a total random thing, and my whole life is absolutely random. Like every part of my life just happened because of some other thing happened. So like my life decisions are mostly by feeling, and I just changed completely what I do in my life in a blink.
Yeah, I want to touch upon that because I completely agree in the sense that I think especially Germany is one of them. I think the UK as well, and quite a
Definitely.
few first world countries, they have got this traditional way of thinking. In my view, it's quite backwards and it doesn't allow us to really explore and get the most out of life. But I wonder, in your case, if you've ever battled with, oh, but I've already invested this much time into a career, and is there a part of you sort of almost doubting your belief in yourself? Maybe you started something and then you thought, that's not for me. Is there something deeper there, or is it simply a case of I've taken this as far as I can and I'm ready for something new?
So let's say I'll tell you the story of how it just started. I was working, well, my first degree is a chemist. I worked in a chemical laboratory, research laboratory. We were researching colors for cars. Like I developed or co-developed a few colors like for BMW M-Class Black in 2018, Porsche green, pearl green brownish thing in 2015, I think it was released. So like I worked on big projects, and then I went to work to plastic area, same stuff, working in laboratories doing research. And it was just such a toxic environment. After spending around 5 years in that area, I decided that I cannot do this. It's not me. It's not me going this ladder step by step, very slowly, and I knew that I can do something else, something bigger, something maybe just, it doesn't need to be bigger, just something mine, and not something that was, predetermined. So I left my first job. That was the best moment in my life at that point. I was completely depressed all the time because I was working at a company that I didn't want to work. I was consuming a lot, and it was just a toxic way of living. And after quitting my first job, I started to feel that I have my life in my own hands. And then I started to take risks. I did another jobs like being COO, being project manager. I managed over 1,600 people at one point. Did a big projects, and still it was kind of this climbing up the corporate ladder kind of thing. Until I realized, well, I burned out completely, and I had a talk with my mom. I was like, I had enough of this. Like, I want support from you, and not always being like, yeah, but you need to be like this and that and whatnot. Like, I said, like, do you want me to be happy, or do you want me to go to this corporate ladder and whatnot? And she's, of course, yeah, I want to be happy, blah, blah, blah. So from that moment, everything changed in the family. We didn't argue anymore of my decisions in my life. And then I started to take my own decisions, like even more risks, like not corporate anything. So after burning out, I changed the company, went to a better, better paying one, working as a manager. They kicked me because they thought I'm a spy of the other company I was working at. Completely random thing. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I was driving in a car. I was picked up. I lived in a different city. I needed to leave my car there in the city, and a friend of mine came to pick me up, and I called my cousin on the phone while I was drinking beer in the car. Well, he was bringing me back. I was like, mate, what should I do? I have no idea where should I go and what's my next goal is. And he's like, yo, I'm in Gibraltar sailing, come over, it's lit. I was like, okay. I just bought the next ticket there. It was like on the weekend, 3 days later. Packed my shit, so tell my parents, like, yeah, I'm moving to Spain, moving to Gibraltar. I was like, huh? Yeah, I'm gonna sail now. And I started sailing. I started sailing in a Royal Yachting Association school. I was taught by quite interesting people, like what was it, like a son or grandson for Sir Lord of Westminster and whatnot. I don't remember like correctly maybe, but something in that direction, like royals. And it changed again my understanding of life, with what kind of people you can communicate. Before it was like workers, co-workers, and now I'm sitting there in a yacht somewhere in the Mediterranean with people who have much more experience than I do, who lived on the sea maybe for tens of years and experienced the light absolutely completely. Like their understanding of life was so immense different than mine that also inspired me to grow. So what can we understand from that? Exploring new or like having new people in your life that are maybe better than you or just different than you could show you what you like about yourself, what you don't like about yourself. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, we can learn so much from everybody around us. I think everyone's, as we were discussing before the pod, everyone is showing you something almost unresolved within yourself sometimes, or perhaps there's something about a person that you're really attracted by, and that is perhaps an insight into what you could become if you were to sort of work on yourself too. And the really important one is being exposed to different ideas and ideologies, right? So we talked about the career paths before. I remember when I left university even, there was so much resistance to me traveling to South America. Because I thought, I need to like go into a job straight away, and it's crazy to think about now, absolutely mental. But because the only people I knew who I talked to on a daily basis or frequently had, again, the same mentality of you've got to leave university and go into a fucking job straight away, that's all I knew. And so when I was thinking about going abroad and traveling the world, I was almost met with resistance, right? It's like, oh, hang on, but you need to, you've just graduated, you need to go and get a job. It's all a load of fucking bullshit, mate. It really is. And I remember speaking to some people, luckily, and they were like, oh, no, come on, you're so young, like, you've got to go and do this. And I did, and I'm so happy that I did, obviously. And then I went back into work, and then after that, my plan was to be in that job for, I think, 3 years, safety, save up some money, and then, hey, then maybe in 3 years I can move to a country I like. And in my case, I thought, yeah, I've got residency in Spain, I'm going to move to Spain in 3 years. But unexpectedly, I sort of left my job in the space of, I think it was a week, just the dynamic completely shifted, complete 180. And now I think, what a fucking gift. Oh my gosh. And I really see it as a gift from the universe, right? Because if I wasn't gifted that opportunity to leave, wow, I would still be in that job. I wouldn't have got a one-way ticket to Bali, the other side of the world, Australia. And I wouldn't have had all these incredible life experiences. I wouldn't be here today. And I really do believe comfort is the killer of dreams, right?
Exactly. Of course.
And I loved hearing about your story, and I'd be interested to hear more about the lessons that you've learned actually from these types of people, especially the guys who'd been sailing and out at sea for a while, because their perspective on life, I think a limiting belief I think a lot of us have is, right, okay, you need this security. What if you want to bring kids into this world? And so it's always like future thinking, and I've got opinions about that, about spending too much time there rather than just being in the now. But I would love to hear how your perspective shifted during that period of your life.
So people that sail, they are mostly, maybe not everybody, but mostly they're very complicated people. They are alone standing people who should know how to do everything by themselves, who at any point of time would be able to survive alone, because in the sea a lot of stuff happens. So you need to be prepared, and first of all you have to rely on yourself very heavily. Second of all, if you have a team, you have to really rely and trust your crew. Like, the trust that I got from the people or with the people that I was sailing with is just different. You go to a new crew and you start working with them, and soon you realize that they need to trust on you like that. So it's not like they think about should they trust you. They have to trust you. So if they give you some task to do, you have to fulfill it ideally, because sometimes it could mean life and death situations. So I learned about this trust, first of all, like trusting people from first second, trying to understand that they are professionals, and you can just say a word and they do it. Like, there was no no, I'm not going to do one or other thing. There was always teamwork. There was like, mate, I need this. Okay, I'm running. It doesn't matter what level you are on. It just, in this particular moment, if you're somewhere up, holding a thing or fixing something, and you say like, I need it now, they're running and bringing it now. It's like, there's no doubt. So first of all, like, trusting people, maybe people that you not really know. Second of all, understanding what each person can do. Different people are good for different tasks. Some of people may be good at following orders, the other giving orders. Some are more mathematical, others creative, etc. So understanding quick what person is good what for. And this loneliness, this boredom, like, those things are mostly associated with something negative. It is not. Boredom and loneliness is needed for everybody. if we would be always surrounded by people, always in our phones with quick dopamine bursts, we will be addicted to that. But when we have loneliness and boredom, we again have this contrast to the normality. So if a person works a lot with people, it's maybe sometimes very good to be alone, yeah, to not hear anybody talking. And boredom. If you're always having something to do, imagine, like, a dumb thing, you're in prison or something. Yeah, something happened, yeah? And you went to the prison and you're always addicted to your phone. Imagine being alone in a cell for the first week. How would you feel? You would go mental. You would go fucking mental, man. So I think that like every man, there's like a bit of pre-programmed things in our genes. We need to exceed our limits and we need to try everything that life gives to be kind of prepared for every life situation, you know?
I really think we spend so much time pursuing pleasure and dopamine hits, but I think that's the cause of our pain a lot of the time. If you look at the pleasure-pain balance, every time you experience a spike, you're going to experience that shift. I actually think what we actually want is solitude, right? We actually want that peacefulness. And yeah, I'd never really understood that when people said, "Oh, I'm bored." It's like, what? Bored? Like, how could you be bored, mate? Like, what? That's crazy to me. I would love to be bored. Wow, what a great feeling that would be. The amount of like just being able to just sit there and just be.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's what everyone actually wants. I think we've got this illusion that we always have to be constantly doing something and be with people. You touched upon something there as well. If you're always surrounded by people and you're not alone with your own thoughts, then how are you going to grow as a person? And I'd imagine everyone wants to grow, right? Even if they don't consciously think they do, naturally you're going to want to get the most out of life. You're going to want to get joy out of life. And I think the pathway to that is by being with yourself and understanding your reactions to things and understanding what's going on. And I do think there's a balance. I do think we need people. I think for a long time I thought that I didn't need anyone. I thought I was just you can become very content with your own company. You might have found that as well, doing a lot of solo travel. I certainly found that, but then what I didn't realize was that I actually get a lot of people interaction without knowing it or even thinking about it, right? So I was thinking to myself, hang on a sec, why am I thinking this way? Why do I think I don't need people interaction? Because I'm happy by myself. But then I realized, okay, I go to jiu-jitsu, I see people there, I have a podcast, I speak to people there, I work with people, and I get very involved in their lives, and we have weekly catch-ups, and we're voice noting each other. And I realized, I'm surrounded by people a lot of the time. So naturally, do I think I need it? No, but the reality is, I definitely do. And my biggest lesson was realizing actually I don't need to just ground myself all the time. You can actually ask for help and allow other people to ground you. I think it's a tendency for men to want to do everything by ourselves, but a lot of the time we could actually use the help of other people, and I think we should utilize that as well. But 100% agree with this idea that we need to constantly be externally stimulated by something. It's crazy. I wonder why we do that. Do you think it's because of the way society's programmed?
Addiction.
Perhaps?
Everything is like the society we live in is based on addictions. Let's say here in Bali, the local shops like Indomart, whatever, they're called. Look at the produce that they're selling. Have you ever bought anything from there? Like, do you find anything nice there? It's all sugar. It's all sugar or salt, no? So the people are bombarded with dopamine, with the sugar blast. So they're getting addicted. We're getting addicted on short bursts from social media. We're getting addicted to different kind of things, you know, and it's all in our unconscious, unconscious.
Well, I guess 90% of our brain activity is the subconscious mind,
Subconscious,
right?
yeah.
We don't even realize what's happening most of the time.
Exactly. Like the whole system itself, how we are being taught is, Rockefellers built the first schools in America, like first real schools, and they were just teaching children to be obedient factory workers. The same thing stayed. If you look at girls and boys in schools, most of the time girls are better. Yeah, I heard it my whole life. Oh, girls are better in school, they get better grades, etc. Why? They can sit at a table for multiple hours. They're more obedient. They can sit like that and listen to something. Boys are mostly not like that. They have more testosterone in the mornings, and they want to just run around and be active. It's not a thing for boys, let's say, or for men to be constrained like that. So that's why, you know, we're being taught to be something different, not natural. Everything that we have in our system is made to control us in some kind of way. By addictions, by discipline, by whatever, by systems, religions, everything. That's why it's good to be by yourself sometimes and don't have like other influences. It's good to have influences from important or nice or kind or interesting people that you find interesting, yeah, that you can learn from. But it's also important to be alone, to have this contrast in life. Contrast. That's like, I think, the most important thing. When you can choose which way you're going, first choosing, secondly, like to have a comparison. This experience was bad, I'm not gonna repeat it. This experience was good, I'm gonna repeat this. I like this. If we always, like now I'm fasting, it's my third day of not eating anything. I just had the feeling before fasting that every day I'm eating sugar. And I was like constantly craving like some waffles and whatnot. I understood that this is not normal. I shouldn't be thinking about fucking waffles all the fucking day. You know?
Well, it's become normal in society, right? I think that's a danger we have to consider as well. Is it normal for the human species naturally? Fuck no. But is it normal in our society? I think it is, right? It's become normalized. Same as alcohol, I think,
Yeah.
to an extent. I think and this is why I always say, right, don't copy what everyone else is doing. I think our tendency as we go out through school, we want to be liked and gain the approval of other people. So we end up conforming. But I think the beauty is in, right, letting everyone else do their thing, actually observe what's going on. You see it's all an illusion, right? And this is why I think it's super important to just observe what's going on, observe what everyone else is doing, and almost like do the opposite, I think. And I think it was Robert Greene who touched upon this idea of, right, people who have done extraordinary things. And he said, look at their characteristics. And if you observe them, they've got all these individual traits, right? And really interesting things. Like you could think of anyone right now, a famous person or someone who inspires you, and chances are there's qualities to them that are very unique to them. And the reason why they've become successful in their own right is because they've embraced their originality and individuality. And yet, what do most people do? They shrink themselves to fit in, right? And I feel like that's a super important thing to think about as well. Okay, just because everyone else is doing it doesn't make it right. And I think sugars are a huge example for that as well.
One of the things is forgot it now. Brain rot. I'm a bit dead of lack of nutrients maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
3 days in, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like 60 something hours now. Yeah, I want to do like 100 hours would be nice. And if I'm still okay at 100 hours, I will do a bit more. My girlfriend is coming at Friday, so I was thinking maybe do it until Friday.
Did you find that your mental health has improved during this fasting period? Because for me, I do 1 meal a day currently, and I find that my mental clarity is a lot better throughout the day. Have you found that as well for a prolonged period of fasting?
I think more about food than my problems. So I'm pretty chill now. It's like the only thing that I think about is some fucking waffles or some steak that I want to eat. I'm already pre-planning what I'm going to eat like when I stop fasting, when I break my fast. So I have no problems in my life because I'm back to the basics of the human nature. I'm flight or fight mode, in flight or fight mode, and now I'm just thinking how I can get food. If I don't have food, to sleep and relax, and that's all. So my work problems don't exist. I do some stuff for work, but I'm kind of not getting any emotional connections to the work.
This is a really interesting point because you mentioned this sort of fight or flight mode. It's almost as if, right, that is actually the core of what we need to survive, right? It's obviously there's sleep and then there's eating, and suddenly when you take away food, that's your only focus. It's almost like back on survival, which is the only real reason why we need sort of anxiety or all these other emotions in the first place, right? Is to tell us that something's important and that something's going on.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting how suddenly when you take away that, that's your priority, and all these other problems have just evaporated. And I think a lot of people can perhaps relate to that. Their problems, which they think are problems, actually, does it affect your immediate survival needs? Probably not. Even if you're about to become homeless, your immediate state of being is not under threat, right? And I think that's an interesting point as well.
Look, I was a fat fuck. So everybody that's fat now, just listen. I was a fucking fat fuck. Literally, I was 136 kilograms. Never did gym anything at all in my life. Well, I tried, I bought like some stuff and I tried to do something at home. It was all bullshit because I was not committed to that. I was eating like 2-3 pizzas a day and a kebab and like 2 liters of Coke, playing Counter-Strike the whole day, and drinking beers already after when I was like 17-ish, 16-ish. In Germany, it's like you can drink from 16, so we're already like, no. Then it was I don't know, I ate something, I had like something with my belly, I couldn't eat for 3 days. And after the day 3, I was like, I don't need to eat actually. I started to feel that I don't need this shit anymore. And I was so motivated because I weighed myself and it was like, I lost like 4 kilograms or so, and I was like 3 days, 4 kilograms. I was like, fuck yeah, let's go, I'm gonna do this. And day 4 or 5 or something, I started to eat apples because I was really like craving, like eating shitloads of shit every fucking day. Like it's hard to stop. So I started eating apples. I ate apples for in total, I think it was like 7 days or so. So in the first week, I lost, I think it was 10 kilograms, 1 week. And I was like, man, 1 week, 10 kilograms without eating, and I'm okay. I started to feel that I don't have energy, being very sleepy, and then I decided, okay, I'm gonna start eating a bit. Because I had like this, I didn't faint, but I had this like lightness moment when I was like, okay, it's not good. So I started eating 1 meal a day, like you do now. And in the following week, I lost again like 7 kilograms. And in the first month in total, I lost like around 24 kilograms. So I was 136-ish. And then I was 110. The fucking difference it made.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 110 now, for perspective. So the fact that you lost, 40 odd kilos, that's wild.
So after that, I started to go to the gym. It motivated me. So like, I really recommend like to clean your body with like a decent fast to restart the whole system.
And I guess people would need, again, I don't know if you had much like supplements and support and stuff.
I had shit. Nothing. Nobody supported me. I had no supplements, nothing.
So if you can do it with someone supporting you and under proper guidance, then even better, right?
Of course. Like, look, there is a thing when you go through tough times alone, and then the other thing when somebody helps you. If you do some things like that, like cardinal things in your life alone, it will build your character much more. Because otherwise, oh yeah, tough situation, I need somebody. Again, craving of this another person, you know? So I would recommend the toughest battles to go alone to build your character, and then only take like help when you actually need the help. I mean, not eating. You don't need to fucking help not eating. Just stop. Just shut your fucking mouth. That's all. You know? Other thing is like when you want to start working out. Maybe you don't know shit. You need somebody to like show how to move your body. Then you need guidance. You know?
I do wonder though, with the sort of eating, right? That in and of itself is an addiction, I think, to get to that weight. So I wonder, have you sort of reflected on that period and thought, okay, I was actually suppressing some emotions there, or I was sort of replacing it with food, and how did that process go? Because we've had people on the show before where they've overcome sort of a physical challenge, right? But when they've overcome the physical challenge, which they never thought would be possible, they've then had to move on to another goal. And usually they're like, oh, fuck. And they've realized their mental health, actually, that problem still hasn't gone away. And a lot of the time, I found it as well. So I was smoking for a while, and I, instead of stopping completely, which I did, but I replaced it with just normal chewing gum. And I found that even that was still suppressing something. So then now I've actually gone off chewing gum completely so that I can deal with whatever's happening, right? Which is, it sounds crazy because you're like, oh, come on, it's just chewing gum. But I realized I was also preaching to people to feel their emotions more. And I realized once coming off the chewing gum, I was like, oh, wow, there's actually quite a lot here still. So yeah, have you sort of reflected on that part perhaps, or was it all physical?
After losing weight, like I said, I was a fat fuck. I didn't get laid, nothing, you know. And it was like I wanted to go into life from, you know, being like 17, 18, and, you know, wanted to experience life at the fullest. So I still was fat inside. I still was thinking that I'm really fat. I didn't have my confidence. It was very hard to get some confidence. I tried to get it through alcohol and drugs that increased my confidence, and I went to clubs, dancing, met with girls, etc. But I couldn't do it like without any supplements, let's say. It took a lot of time to realize that. Years and years I was pulling myself down with alcohol and drugs, and it took a lot of power to escape that. Again, no help at all, like from nobody. Everybody was other way around, like saying that, oh, let's go to party, like that kind of friends. If you're you know, like partying and your friends are from partying, you need to delete this whole playlist, friends list.
But this is an important point, I think, and when you start to realize you're on different paths, I think a lot of people struggle to let go of those friendships. But I think you've just got to let life just happen naturally, right? And hey, it doesn't mean you have to completely shut them out forever, but maybe for a period of time you think, okay, you know what is more important here? What would the best version of myself do? Would they be hanging out with these people knowing that actually they're not the greatest influence on me? And then, hey, you know, once you've gone through that journey and you've completed your development, if you want to reach out to them in the future, then go for it. You don't have to spend all your time with them, but maybe it's once a year for a catch up, or loving from a distance. We've said on the podcast before, but absolutely, I think a change of environment is hugely important, and I do think eventually you would have to, I think, can you do it still in the same environment? I think you can in a difficult environment, but it's going to be a lot harder.
Exactly. But you have to also remember that you cannot ever run from yourself. you will always have yourself with you. So like people think, oh, I'm gonna change the country, it's gonna be better. I'm gonna change my friends group, it's gonna be better. Fuck no, man. You have to change yourself first. That's the most important thing, because everything around you, it's not controlling you. You control your surroundings. Actually, the only thing that we can control in our lives, it's our brains, like our thoughts. That's the only thing. Like if we go to solitary or whatnot, the only thing is with us is our thoughts, not our friends, not our habits or something. It's just what we have inside. So first and foremost, you have to be good with yourself. You have to be your own friend. You have to support yourself. You have to see yourself maybe sometimes from third person. Like you said, what like let's say those people that say like, what would Jesus do or something. I'm absolutely not religious. I don't propagate it and whatnot, but think about, what would you do in your ideal self? Would you do if you were be the ideal person now? How would you think, no? And just adapt new neural pathways that are better, you know. A lot of people say that they cannot do something, cannot do this, cannot do that. Twist it around. Start talking about what you can do. No? Just fool yourself until you are able to do something yourself. Yeah? Dumb things. When I was depressed, I was standing in front of the mirror and started laughing or smiling like this, like a dumb fuck, and was like thinking about myself, like, what the fuck are you doing? How dumb are you? And I started to laugh off myself that I'm doing that kind of things. So me being depressed, me, like bullying myself in front of the mirror made me laugh about myself, and then at least at this moment I felt better. Of course, after like half an hour I was again like, oh fuck this life, blah blah blah. But it doesn't need to be, you cannot change yourself like that. Everything like adds up a bit and a bit and a bit and a bit. So if you try to smile every day just a little bit for a few seconds, it's gonna add up. It's gonna add up. Next day maybe you have like 3 seconds, another day like 4 or 5. In a year, maybe you're laughing the half of the day. Who knows? But you need to start somewhere. Fake until you make, and fake it until you make it, So fake yourself, fake your thoughts, fake your happiness until you can do this.
Yeah, I certainly agree with the slight edge principles, the compounding effects, right? Just a little bit every day, and it is a process, right? I remember for me, when I went through depression for the first time, what helped me was, again, I think I went into the mirror every day. I played my favorite song, and I'd just be like, I had a little chat with myself. I was like, yeah, come on, you got this. I'm with you. Come on, you've got it. Yeah. And throughout my life, I was like, through that period, I think every day I was struggling, all my thoughts were going crazy. I couldn't control my thoughts and had this sort of heaviness in me. And then I'd get anxious when I saw like a trigger walk past. And yeah, I think that it all just started with, doing that process of talking with myself and believing in myself, right? Believing that I could change. I think number one is you've got to believe you can change. That's the number one most important thing, having a growth mindset. And once you shift out of a fixed mindset where you believe, you are your mind, you can't improve, then you can't really change then. I think you've got to believe you can change. And I believe everybody can. Everyone can rewire their brain, right? But you've got to believe that first and foremost. And then I think there's several different things. Like you said, I think pick one thing which you're going to do every day. I think where you're going to show up for yourself, and then you start building self-belief. And then once you start doing that, you become less and less reliant on the approval of people or external things to give you that validation. And the more and more powerful you get, the less you rely on that. And I think you just can keep on going. And it's an important point to mention, or to expand upon what you said, right? It's not going to be like that. It's like a straight, okay, here we go, great, we're going to be better tomorrow, or in 1 month it's going to be like this. It's a constant up and down. But over a longer period of time, like anything, like financial investments, like anything, it's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. But eventually, it's going to go up, right? And it's a constant process. I don't actually think there is an end goal at all. We're just at different levels of our own journey, right? And I think that's also why you can't compare yourself to other people.
Exactly. It's very bad to compare yourself to others because they had a different life. They had different possibilities in life. And you don't need to look at somebody that's, I don't know, let's take gym. Why should you compare yourself with a person that goes 20 years to gym and think, oh, in a month I will be like that? It's bullshit. You know, some people have strange ideas that they need to be like the best person in the world. Maybe they are not built for that. Maybe it takes a lot of years, a lot of commitment to do that. So just be better than your yesterday self, and that's enough. Just a little every day. I'm also a motivational and career coach. I'm teaching Ukrainian refugees, integrating them into the German society. And when I teach them German, I always say just small steps. You know, like the smallest step is learning 500 words of the language that you want to learn. Because when NATO warriors go to a new country to do some mission and whatnot, first they need to learn top 500 words. They don't need the grammar, nothing, just top 500 words, and they already can communicate in some kind of way. 500 words, if doing it like 2 words a day, 250 days. So it's like less than a year, you can actually learn the language. In NATO, they're doing like in 2 months, I think. They're like powering through, and that's all, and they're going out. But I mean, just taking it slow. It doesn't need to be like big thing. New language, 250 days. You have 500 words. You can do like this. You can learn two new words today, like top 2 words. Then next day you add 2 new. So you repeat your 2 last ones and 2 new ones. Next day you have 2 new ones, and you repeat 2 last ones, and then it's like going like that. You always do like 4 words a day. That's how you learn a language very fast. Just put it on your lock screen. Every time you open your phone, you do it like 3 million times a day. Every time you open it, you don't need to like make some time for learning. Just every time you open your phone, you look at this. This word. I repeat it. That's all. And don't be like, don't seek any goals. If you don't remember one word, just do it later. Just do it after those 250 days. Maybe in that period of time, you already will learn this word completely, like just through communication. So just, you don't need to put like exact goals. Well, my idea is you don't need to put exact goals in your life. Just put like a very broad thing. I want freedom. If I'm not getting freedom tomorrow, I will be okay. But if I say I need to lift 200 kilograms on bench by tomorrow and I'm not doing that, I will be sad. I'll have negative emotions. Let's do everything positively. So encourage ourselves. Set goals that are not written down in stone. I want freedom. So to get freedom, maybe I need money. To get money, so we're going from top to bottom, So freedom, I need money. For money, I need work. For work, I need motivation. For motivation, I need to meditate. For meditation, I need time. For time, I need to allocate some time for meditation. Maybe today I'm doing this and blah, blah, blah. So it's like, set up a goal that is very broad and just run down somehow, like, and find like the best way to start the thing today. Because your goals could be like, I want to be millionaire, and how do you start? So like, go from the other way. I want to be a millionaire. If it's your thing, sure, why not? Then okay, to be a millionaire, I need to get 100K a month first. I don't know, like I need a job, 100K a month. To get that, I need qualification of this. To get this qualification, I need to go to university. To go to university, I need 20K. To get 20K, I need to work at McDonald's first. So it's like, just run down. It will be easier.
Yeah, I think reverse engineering for these type of things it's a game changer. And this is something I've learned from my own experience, that feeling where, because I hear it with my clients, right, when I first start working with them, it's, I've got zero energy, no motivation to do anything. And I say, okay, and then we look back at their goals. Okay, what are the actual goals? And it's very unclear what they're actually working towards. If you're not working towards anything, an exact, precise dream or vision, then the universe isn't going to give you anything because it doesn't actually know what you want, right? Whereas if you create, this is what I like to do, think of your dream life in all these different areas of life. So relationships, country you're living in, your dream job, dream friendship group. Get really, really clear about what your goal is. And then you have that, and that is your motivation. Then, like you said, reverse engineer back from there. And then every day you know exactly, right, okay, I know that the action I'm doing hopefully leads, or it gives me the best opportunity to reach this goal. And I think it's a lot of the time when we're stuck or whether we're depressed, I think it's because we don't have a vision of where we're going. We haven't got a purpose wider than ourselves. And yeah, if you don't necessarily know what your purpose is, I think number one, I'd say, take your example, just try random shit out, but just get more life experience and go with the flow and follow your heart. And then I think you'll always be rewarded. I think there's also a cool exercise which I took from a book called The Art of Impossible by Stephen Kotler. And to start off, list 25 things that you're curious about or interested in. Just 25 random things. Then, once you've got 25 things, what you can do is, let's try and join two of these things or more together. Take two things, see how they combine, get really niche and specific, and then from there you can reverse engineer it. Okay, how can I solve this problem? Start reading books about it, podcasts, whatever it may be. And then I think from there, find out your massive transformative purpose, right? So think of some examples where, okay, the ideas have intersected, and then think, okay, how could I help people in this niche, or how could I use it to help people? And I think what you're doing now is a great example of sort of giving back, right? And you're motivated, I presume, because you're doing something greater than yourself. Suddenly it's not about you anymore. I think a lot of the time we can get quite self-centered. However, when we realize that it's not about us, it's about how we can serve other people, I think you're going to be more motivated. You've suddenly got something greater than yourself, right? And I think that's what we're all here to do, is to sort of give back in a way.
Giving back is a big part of my life too. I don't know, maybe it's like childhood traumas or something. Who knows, I'm trying to analyze myself already for years, so it takes years to get better. But yeah, giving something back gives this achievement, this feeling of success. Maybe if you don't have a lot of success in your life, giving others, like helping others to succeed, you can like feel the same way. And about experiences, don't be afraid to do like anything. If you feel like being a DJ, being a rugby player, whatever, just go and do it. Just try it out. Because every experience gives something in your life. Like, I never thought that me working when I was 15, 16 at my stepdad's company and construction will help me in my life. I was like, fuck what I'm doing here. I just need a computer. I want to buy something. But through that experience, I understand a lot of construction now. Then I was learning in electrotechnics, and I have some knowledge of electrics, and I was working as an electrician, like a helping electrician, my stepfather's company a bit. Then after some time, I bought a construction company, and I was like co-founder of it, co-director, yeah. And now I'm in Bali, and I'm also having a construction company and building villas. So it's like the connections in life, like they're sometimes so random. Like the knowledge that I got from electrics, from electric school, from the construction, from boating. like alone in boating, so much work with teak wood. Teak wood is a good luxury thing to put in houses too. So, the randomest things help you out in life after. So don't think that some experience like working in a McDonald's or something is bad. It's just a contrast. Maybe just a contrast to understand that this is not for you. Maybe you're meant for something else. Or like, no, just find yourself. Just try out. Just try out whatever. You can fail. The more we fail, the more we know. We learn the best from our own mistakes because we are dumb fucks and we do not learn from other mistakes. When others make mistakes, we're like, not gonna happen for me. And then we do the same shit. And what happens? Then we just repeat mistakes that we could have learned already. So it is good to learn from others' mistakes when people can do that. Most of the time, we are dumb fucks and we only learn when we fail, when we fall down. Like a baby, It falls down, it shouldn't fall down anymore.
That's a good point, though. We need to be open to learning, right? If we adopt this victim mentality, as we've discussed before, then you're not going to learn, right? You're going to think it's the world against you. Everyone's out there to get you. Life's just not happening in your favor. It's happening to you. But I really believe life is happening for you if you change your perspective, right? And it's very difficult, the ego will get in the way, right? It will try and say, it can't be my fault, or this person did this to me. And whether those stuff is true or not, you need to take ownership, right? And the only way you're going to do that is by seeing everything as a gift, like we've discussing before. Every single experience, rather than seeing it is, I've had this career change and I've wasted all this time in a separate career. And if you vibrate to that frequency, then you're going to continue operating that way, right? You're going to have this sort of lack mentality. That's another thing, I think, which is important to touch upon as well, right? It's this sort of lack. If you think, I don't have any friends, I don't have money, I don't have all of these great things, then you're probably going to stay that way because you're not attracting all of that stuff into your life. You need to have this sort of abundance mindset, and then you're going to be more open to receiving it from the world, right?
People mostly think that everything around them changes them or controls them. Like we are all slaves of some different systems. Before there were slavery that we were selling people for manual labor. Now we're still slaves by the system. It's logical. We're slaves by different things, sugar, politics, emotions, whatnot. We are always being enslaved by somebody. So don't be a victim. We are all victims, So either we understand that we are being enslaved constantly by different things, and we change our lifestyle accordingly, or we're just playing the victim role and just being like, I cannot do anything, me. No, we can decide what we're doing with life. The only time I think we wouldn't be able if we're like imprisoned or something, or like being actually enslaved, like with like a big ball on your leg. Then I understand that you cannot do anything, maybe.
Well, even then, you can control your reactions to everything, right, as some of the greatest guys in history have done.
You can control everything that is inside here. Every reaction is coming from inside. So if we think that something that's bad that's happened, I don't know, you fall down, and two different reactions. You fell down and you're starting to whine. Oh no, I fell again. I'm so clumsy. Oh no, and my jacket is ripped and whatnot. No? And you can also be like, oh, I dropped. What a fucking dumb fuck am I? Let's get up and let's go further. Oh, my jacket is ripped. Oh, I want a new one. I'm just gonna work more to get a better jacket. It's a different. You choose how to react. You choose how to feel. It's not the surrounding things that give you those emotions. You give the emotions to yourself. So you can actually choose what kind of emotions you want to have. First, it will be hard. But as I said, fake it till you make it. You can fake good emotions until you have good emotions.
Yeah, and I also think just, right, once you become aware of the habits that are holding you back, these negative thought patterns, it all starts with the awareness. Okay, now we're aware of all this stuff going on. And now whenever that activation happens in your body, when you react to something in the future, the normal reaction is to go down this rabbit hole of, oh, this has happened and I'm this and what are they thinking of me? But I think once we start noticing this activation come up, like you said, it'll be tricky at first, but once you get into the habit, you can then start saying, okay, you know what, this is the path I'd usually go down. And you might catch yourself doing it, and then you can just say, I like to say, I think I got this from a book actually, you can just say, change. Okay, and then every time you catch yourself thinking, going down that rabbit hole, just say change. And then that way you're almost rewiring your brain in a sense, because instead of going down that rabbit hole, you're saying change, actually, no, that doesn't serve me anymore. And I think eventually you get to a point where these thoughts don't even enter your brain anymore because you've practiced it so many times, and you don't even want it because you're no longer addicted to that feeling that it gives you in your body and that train of thought, and you're getting so much joy out of life that you like these thoughts, you're just like, okay, you know what, no, it's okay, I don't want to think about that. And that's why I do think it is a choice, and it's meant to be difficult at first, but I think, yeah, if you just keep at it and doing hard things, I think anyone can get themselves out of that. And yeah, I think your story has been super inspiring, and I think we've covered a lot of ground there and so many interesting insights as well. I guess we can go into the closing traditions of the podcast. We've got 3 questions. The first 2 are questions which we ask at the end of every episode, and the third one is asked by a member of our Growth Voyage community, someone who listens to the pod, which is cool. The first question is a song suggestion.
Song suggestion. I'm very bad with names and remembering everything. I need to check.
I think all my guests say a similar thing. They have their favorite songs, but they're not quite sure what it is.
If it would load now. I don't have the internet, or it doesn't work in that kind of way. It was an old song. Please load. Oh yeah, private playlist. The Commodores, Flying High.
That was a great funeral song. I love it. I just have to check. If I upload this, I might get copyright strike for playing. Playing the song. I'll check that.
Yeah.
I'd love to keep it in. That's a great track. But I'll put it in the description anyway. That's a great tune. Okay, fantastic. Number 2 is a book recommendation.
The first book that gave me like this kick in the ass when I was 16, 17-ish, I think. Like the first was Mark Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's like, I don't know, it depends how much books you have read in your life, but as a first thing, it was very impactful for me. I could recommend that book to the beginners, like that want to change their life, want to come out of like depression and want to be in charge of their lives maybe. You know, you just need to understand how to don't give a fuck. Because we do give a fuck about things that doesn't matter in our lives. Too much. When in actual we need to give a fuck about what's inside maybe more, or what's here in the head, to control this and just enjoy life more.
Choosing what to give a fuck about and what not to. And a lot of the time we give a fuck about shit that's not actually important to us. Great recommendation. Mark Manson, I also really liked his book called Models, which is a great one as well, which I highly recommend. I think especially if you're looking to attract the right partner, a romantic partner into your life, I think it's an absolute game changer. And I think that's the only real book you need, at least for sort of starting out and just really understanding the core fundamentals of dating and attracting the right partner. So yeah, great suggestion there, and a great author, and yeah, he's great to listen to as well. The next one is a guest question, so we'll move on to that. And yeah, this one comes from Marcus Goodman, and he says, how do you think of things to talk about in terms of sort of conversations with strangers and that type of thing? And I've got my sort of own opinions on this, but I do feel like a lot of men, they struggle in social interactions, right? When you first start stepping out of your comfort zone, one of the first steps is meeting new people, and everyone wants to make more friends. So given your experience, it seems that you've naturally, or it comes across like you've always been naturally extroverted, but I'd love to hear about how that process has been for you.
First of all, more is not better. Quality is better. So if you are going to be not yourself, not your actual self, you will only attract people that are also not themselves, or that people that are not fitting to you. Just this, as dumb as it sounds, be yourself. This thing is really important, because then you will attract those people that are actually interested in you as you are. Because you can have those masks, but for how long? Sometimes, after some time, you will lose the mask, and then it's not interesting to communicate with you anymore or whatnot. So first of all, always be yourself. If you talk with a person and he's like not responding back and whatnot, just fuck it, just go away. Who cares? Just try an error. Find a person who actually wants to talk with you, who is nice and kind with you, especially with girls. Like girls, I give like 2 chances. Like at first I'm all in and like, giving and whatnot. But if I feel like there is like no answer, or I am the one that always initiating the talk, I'm just discard them directly, not trying to be that I'm not that person that I'm not. I'm not trying to get people in my life that don't want me in their lives. So be like water, like Bruce Lee said, be like water. Water just goes through a path that's already there. You just choose the path of least resistance to have the best results, because you don't need to go in the areas that you are not wanted. You don't need to speak with people that don't want to speak with you. Just try, say hello to everybody, and we'll see what happens. Small talk is bullshit. Like, you can do small talk for like 2 sentences, but after that, if you're not going to something interesting, why do you need to talk about weather? I hate talking about weather. I can go outside and feel the weather. The fuck we're talking about,
Yeah, quite a lot to digest there. I completely agree in the sense that, just be fucking yourself. I think, we go through school and there's this defensive mechanism, right? Okay, we can't be ourselves, and we're told that that's not okay, so then we alter ourselves to fit in. But then what happened in my experience was, when I did that, again, I would resent people who I didn't connect with. Perhaps they didn't understand me on a deeper level. They wouldn't have deeper conversations. And then I think as I grew up, I realized actually that's not on them, that's on me, because I didn't show up authentically in the first place, right? So I've put up this mask, and then suddenly when I show myself and my emotions boil over because I don't feel seen or heard, suddenly they just see that and then I alienate people, right? So absolutely from the off. And I think dating, that's what Mark Manson talks about in his book as well. Just say it how it is. Don't be scared of sort of treading on toes. Just be unapologetically you, and the quality of your relationships will improve. And I think that will be quite difficult for a lot of people at first. But it's, again, if it's scary, then I think you should be doing it, right? And then naturally, I think you will be rewarded. It might take a couple goes because you're not in the right room or surrounded by the right people, but eventually it's going to be worth it, because I believe everyone will find their people out there. And I think one of the best ways to do that is through solo traveling, because you can completely reinvent yourself. You haven't got these old energy bonds keeping you back. You haven't got this old identity or ego keeping you back. You can just be whoever you want to be, and just be authentically you, right? So yeah, completely agree with that. And I think you also touched upon, like small talk as well. I do actually think naturally it's kind of like a vetting process in a way. I think we kind of have to go through that. But yeah, as you were saying, if you get to a point where you're just like, okay, this, I don't actually need this, then yeah, I think it's probably wise to sort of walk away, right?
Well, what can I say is that I had the best dates when I was being myself. Like I was like the dumb fuck, the nerd that I am. I just went to people. I started talking in that way. Like every time I had a talk with somebody, and like doing small talk and whatnot, it didn't end to anything very like exclusive, interesting, whatnot. I mean, when I stand, sure, hey, how are you? Blah blah blah, all easy. But if you wanna find a partner, just be yourself. Just go to a person and say like, think that you like give a question about, I don't know, do you like Star Trek 2? And she was like, yeah, no, fuck off. Then okay, it's not your person. But if you're like this like the biggest Star Trek nerd and you need to, your life to be around Star Trek, and you want a girl that's also into that, it could be like the best thing. You're into Star Trek? Oh my God, I'm also into Star Trek. And you start like an amazing conversation that brings you something amazing. So just try, be yourself. You're gonna fail a million times, but when you achieve your goal, it will be the amazing one and not just something, So if you want a sex, etc., sure, put a mask on. It's just one day. It's easy. But if you want to find your person, be your genuine self and act like as your genuine self,
Yeah, wholeheartedly agree. That never gave me sort of lasting joy or happiness either, right? It was more of trying to be someone else in order to get some external validation, and that, from my experience, never really serves you in the long run. So, yeah, so much to learn from you, mate. It's been such a pleasure having you on. I love the way your brain works and how you've reflected on your experiences and your direct approach as well. Where can people find you if they want to connect or they're interested in perhaps the work that you're doing?
Insta, Balietis. Balietis means Balinese person in Lithuanian. So just go on Insta, you can find me there, and from that on, you can find my projects on there. Mitra.iv is also Instagram page where my Indonesian-based company is. Then we have a project, we want to build 12 villas in Nuanu. We have a franchise that we're creating, like building villa projects there that are made quality, yeah.
Wicked. Yeah. Been awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, man. I had a big pleasure to have a talk with you, man.
Been awesome.
Thanks.
Cheers, brother.
Yeah, bro.